Right now, whatever you are wearing is doing something remarkable. It is keeping a tropical animal alive in a world its body was never built for. Because that is what you are. Underneath the fabric, you are a hairless African primate, built for open grassland heat, not for cold mornings or freezing nights. You should not be able to survive most of this planet. And yet here you are. The reason is simple. At some point, one of your ancestors picked up an animal skin and solve a problem. Evolution never did. Here is the strange part. We cannot just look at old skeletons and see clothing. Fabric and hide rot away in a few hundred years. So the actual first shirt, the actual first coat, left no trace at all. For a long time, this meant scientists thought the question was unanswerable. You cannot dig up something that no longer exists. But it turns out there was a witness to the invention of clothing that had been riding along on our bodies the entire time. And nobody thought to ask it a single question until surprisingly recently. That witness is lice. Head lice have lived on human scalps for millions of years, clinging to hair since before we were even our own species. But there is a second kind of louse, one that does not live in hair at all. It lives in clothing, only visiting skin to feed. Body lice are so specialized for fabric that they physically cannot survive without it. Which means body lice could not have existed before clothing existed. They had nowhere to live. In 2003, a team led by the biologist Mark Stoneking compared the DNA of head lice and body lice to see how long ago. They split into two separate species. Genetic mutations build up at a fairly steady rate. So the amount of difference between two populations works like a molecular clock. Their answer stunned a lot of people. Body lice, and therefore clothing, appear to be roughly 170,000 years old. Humans were wearing something long before anyone thought to check. That number matters more than it might seem. Around that same window, our ancestors were preparing to do something no primate had ever done before: leave Africa. Modern humans evolved in warm, equatorial climates, but the migrations that eventually populated the entire planet pushed north into places with brutal winters, places where a naked, hairless body would simply die of exposure in a matter of hours. Clothing was not a fashion choice. It was the technology that unlocked the rest of the planet. So who actually made it? We know Neanderthals were living in genuinely cold parts of Europe over 100,000 years ago, and archaeologists have found their stone scrapers, tools clearly shaped for cleaning fat and flesh from animal hides. That tells us they were processing skins. But scrape hide is still just a hide, something you might drape or wrap. The real leap comes later with a tiny object found in a cave in Siberia called Denisova, a sewing needle carved from bone, with a tiny hole for thread, roughly 50,000 years old. A needle means something enormous. It means fitted clothing, not just a hide thrown over the shoulders, but layers sewn to the shape of a human body, sealed at the seams to trap heat. If you want to see where this technology eventually led, you do not need to imagine it. In 1991, hikers in the Alps found a body frozen in the ice. A man who died about 5,300 years ago. Scientists named him Otzi, and what he was wearing, preserved almost perfectly by the cold, was not primitive at all. A cloak woven from grass, leggings and a loincloth made of goat leather, a coat stitched together from patches of sheep and goat hide, albierskinhot, shoes with a bearskin sole, deer hide panels, and a bark netting insole stuffed with soft grass for warmth. Essentially an early insulated hiking boot. This was not survival by luck. This was engineering refined over more than 150,000 years of trial, failure, and improvement. And that engineering changed our biology right back. Once clothing did the job of keeping us warm, Our bodies were free to lose the thick fur that every other primate still carries. Some researchers argue this is exactly why humans became the naked apes we are. We outsourced insulation to technology and evolution. Always efficient, stopped spending energy on a coat, a fur we no longer needed for it. Think about what that means. The sweater in your closet, the jacket by your door, they're not really new inventions. They're the current version of a single, continuous project our species has been running for 170,000 years. Every stitch is a descendant of that first Denisova needle. Every zipper is standing in for a hole. A Neanderthal scraped in a stiff hide with a stone tool by firelight. You have never once in your entire life felt the cold the way your bare skin was actually designed to feel it because somebody solved that problem for you before. Written history even began. So next time you pull on a coat without thinking twice, remember what you were actually doing. You are stepping into an unbroken inheritance that let a tropical animal walk into the Arctic and come out the other side. Clothing did not just help humans survive the planet. It let us take it over.